What does a rabbit, a chicken, and a sheep all have in common? We get to show them at the county fairs.
Howdy, and welcome to the Bar SC Ranch, where you will experience our journey of running a family business, caring for animals, and doing life together. Subscribe now and be inspired here at the Bar SC.
Hi, my name is Maddie, and today my sister and I are going to show you how we practice showing rabbits, chickens, and sheep. Today we are going to be starting off with the chickens.
Hi, my name is Kylie, and this is Firefly.
My name is Maddie, and this is Steve.
Today, we are going to be going through the steps on showing poultry. So Maddie and I have both been showing poultry for about 5 years, and we have both won Poultry Showmanship. Today, we will be going through all the steps that you will need to successfully show a bird.
To start out with our Poultry Showmanship, we start with an intro. Our introductions are going to be slightly different because Kylie and I have 2 different poultry breeds. My introduction would be, hello, my name is Maddie Borland, I'm 11 years old, and this is my black-breasted red, Old English game bantam rooster, Steve.
And my intro would be, hi, my name is Kylie Borland, I'm 15 years old, and this is my silver-spangled Hamburg hen, Firefly. So all the correct information about your bird's comb, coloring, any of that can all be found in the American Standards of Perfection for Poultry. Okay, the first point we're going to go over is the head. So you'll first examine your bird's eyes. So you're looking for the correct coloring in the eyes and any discoloration or fogginess in the eyes. And then we'll go on to the comb, and you want the correct type of comb and the correct coloring. And then we'll go on to the wattles, and the wattles, you want also the correct coloring. You're looking for the correct texture, and you want to make sure there are no missing portions of the wattles. And then you're going to look at the condition of your bird's head feathers, and you want to make sure they're all clean and they're all there. And then we'll move on to the beak, and you're looking for the correct coloring of the beak and any crookedness. And last are the earlobes. The earlobes, you are also looking for the correct coloring.
And then you want to make sure that once you have examined the head, that you go and you do the other side so the judge can see both sides. Next, we're going to be checking the body of our birds. And we're going to start by running our hand over their back and checking for, again, the condition of the feathers and also to make sure it's smooth. And then we're going to check the width of our bird's body, and you're going to hold up what the widest point of their width of their body is. And then we're going to check the undercolor for the proper color on the underside of the feathers, and also because mites like to burrow underneath the feathers. So we're checking to make sure that the skin is clean.
Okay, next up is the tail. So first you're going to take your hand, you're going to run your hand through the tail feathers. You can do it either that way or this way. And then we're going to fan the tail feathers. And this, we're just checking for molting or missing feathers. And we're also looking at the condition of the feathers.
Next, we will be examining our bird's vent. So we're going to be checking the vent for proper color, any lice or mites. And we're going to be checking the capacity by seeing how many fingers we can fit between the pubic bones and how many fingers we can fit between the pubic bones and the breastbone. And if your bird is a hen, you can feel the part right beneath the vent, and if it is loose, you can tell that the bird has laid eggs.
And you can tell between Maddie and I's birds, you could see that my size in between the pubic bones was a lot bigger than Maddie's, and that's because mine's a hen and hers is a rooster, so mine has laid eggs before. The next point is the thigh. So this point is not as important if you don't have a meat bird. It would be very important if you did have a meat bird. But you're going to just run your hands over the thighs just to check how big it is.
And then we'll check the other thigh as well.
You'll turn it around so that they can see it.
Next, we're going to be checking the shanks. We're going to be checking for any scaly leg mites or any other kinds of mites. If the scales are raised, that means that mites are present. We're checking for pigmentation and overall condition, and then we can bring our birds up and show the fronts of the shanks as well.
Next are the toes. So to check the toes, we're going to be looking for also scaly leg mites, just like we did on the shanks. We're also looking for the correct coloring. And then we're also going to look down at the toenails, and we're going to make sure all the toenails are the same color. In the toes, we're also looking for any broken toes or twisted toes.
And if there's a rooster, you'll also check the spurs.
Yes.
Next, we'll be examining our bird's breast. So for this, we're gonna flip them over, and we're gonna be examining and checking for any breast blisters or other abnormalities, the straightness of the keel bone, and as well as the length of the keel bone.
Now we're gonna look at the wing. We're gonna spread it out like this, and we're looking for any missing or broken feathers. And then we're gonna look underneath the wing as well to look for any mites. And we're gonna look at the bone here, make sure none of the bones are broken. And we're looking at the overall condition of the feathers. You wanna make sure you do both wings and check for all of this on both wings.
And the easiest way to get to the other wing is take your hand and cross it over, and then you can grab the wing that way. For the final step of examining our birds, we're gonna be checking the crop. It's better to not feed your chickens very much on the morning of the show because they can vomit on you during handling.
And that is the last step that we take just for while we're holding our birds. Next, we are going to walk our birds. So we'll set them on the table, and we are going to use pointers.
Well, first we're gonna pose them.
Oh, that's right, yes. So you're gonna pose your bird, and once the judge nods at you, then you can walk your bird. We are using pointers, and you wanna practice this a lot because birds do not naturally walk with sticks. You also want to walk your bird on many different surfaces because they actually don't walk on different surfaces. They don't like different textures. So if you practice on carpet and grass and table, plastic, everything, then it'll be a lot better once you get to the show if they have a different kind of material you have at home.
Another skill that you may be asked to do with your bird is put your bird in an enclosure. So we're gonna come over here to one that we've set up, and first you're gonna hold your bird and then you're gonna open it. We're gonna set our birds in head first so that if it does hit the top or the sides of the pen, the feathers are just pushed towards the direction and not against the way that they lay. We're gonna put them in head first. We're gonna pose them. And then this is another thing you need to practice because most of the time they don't stay still. We're gonna close it behind us and step away and wait for the judge to acknowledge you. Once he's acknowledged you, you're gonna come back, open the enclosure back up. You're gonna get hold of your bird, and then again, you're gonna pull him out head first so that none of their feathers get ruffled. And then you're gonna close the pen behind you so that whoever's coming up next then can open it and put their bird in. And then we're gonna come back to the table.
And closing the cage is something that a lot of kids miss, so you really want to make sure that you don't forget to do that. We really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you also learned something from it about how to show your bird and how we practice showing our birds.
And if you have any further questions on showmanship or want to know anything else about poultry, put it in the comments below and we'd love to answer your questions. And now we're going to show you how we practice showing our rabbits. Hello, my name is Maddi Borland, and this is Peaches, and today I'm going to be practicing my rabbit showmanship because I'm going to be taking Peaches to the county fair in May. Okay, so two of the things that I always like to have on hand when we go to a rabbit show just to review, and that's really, I find really fun to just look through and learn, is first of all, the Rabbit Showmanship Scorecard from the ARBA, so it's American Rabbit Breeders Association website. And this has all of the steps to what you're gonna go over in showmanship, the actions, so what the judge is looking for as you go into those steps with your rabbits, and then the terminology of what the judge would like to know that you are looking for as you go through these steps, and then what what these steps are worth in the points. And then the one other thing I like to have is the ARBA Standard of Perfection. And this has every breed of cavies and rabbits, so guinea pigs, And so to go through that and to find any of your breeds is really important, because then it has what are disqualifications and defects in your breed. It has the body type, and it has just a bunch of awesome information. So now we're going to go through showmanship from start to finish. So the first thing I want to cover is how to properly hold your rabbit. So one of the ways that you can make rabbits feel the most secure is by using their scruff. So I put my pointer finger between their ears, and I'm not actually going to pick them up by their ears, but this is just going to tuck the ears back, and you're going to grab the thin layer of skin that's right behind their neck. You're going to pick them up and scoop them and put their head in your elbow, and you want to cover their eyes, and when they can't see everything that's happening around them, it makes them feel the most secure. So now that we have our rabbit in position, when you're at a rabbit show, they're going to have you walk into the room. You're going to stand about 4 or 5 feet away from the table, and you're going to do 4 quarter turns, and this is so that the judge can make sure that you're holding your rabbit properly. So you're going to start facing them, and when the judge acknowledges you, you're going to turn a quarter turn, another quarter, and you're going to go all the way around. And then you're going to wait for the judge to acknowledge you again. You're going to come up to the table, and you're going to set your rabbit down. And we always set them down so that the judge is examining so that the rabbit's left side is towards the judge. So just like this. And then this is another reason why your standard of perfection is really important, because then you're going to have to know your rabbit's body type in order to know how to pose them. So my rabbit's body type is compact, but the Netherland Dwarf is her breed, and they stand slightly more upright. So we're going to get her underneath herself. There we go, something like that. I haven't had Peaches for very long, so we are still practicing this. There we go. Something a little bit like that. Okay, so now that we have our rabbits nicely posed, we're going to introduce ourselves. So we're going to introduce our first and last name, how old you are, and what club you're from. So I would say, hello, my name is Maddi Borland. I'm 11 years old, and I'm in the Bitterwater 4-H Club. And this is my Netherland Dwarf is her breed, Tortoiseshell is her color, and she is a senior doe, which means that she is a female rabbit that's over the age of 6 months, and her name is Peaches. So going through that all together would be, hello, my name is Maddi Borland. I'm 11 years old. I'm in the Bitterwater 4-H Club, and this is my Netherland Dwarf, Tortoiseshell, Senior Doe, Peaches. So the first part of our rabbits that we're going to examine are their ears. Any show rabbit needs to be ear tattooed, and so depending on the size of your rabbit's ear, you can only fit so many numbers and letters in there, but my rabbit's tattoo is MB2. We're going to check the outside of the ear for fur coverage, so how much hair is on the outside, and also the carriage of her ears, so how well they're placed upon her head. The inside of the ear for any mites and any canker sores. We're going to look at the thickness of the ear, the color of the inside of the ear, and any missing or torn portions of the ear. This is a little bit of a long kind of thing to go through, so you're going to say it as you're examining one ear, and then you're just going to go ahead and examine the other ear as well. That way you're not having to repeat a bunch over again. So after we finish the ears, the next thing we're going to examine is the eyes. To do this, we're going to have to flip our rabbits over. So we're going to start by turning our rabbits a quarter turn. We're going to again grab their scruff, so our pointer finger in between their ears. Grabbing their scruff, we're going to support their hind end, flip them over, and rest their body. And they are quite uncomfortable with this at first, because when they're upside down, they cannot run away from anything. So this is something that you're really going to have to gain your rabbit's trust with. But so we're going to have them resting their body weight on the table. And then we're going to check their eyes. So we're not going to force their eyes open, but we're going to use our fingers to open it up. And I'm going to be checking for the proper color, any blindness, signs of walleye, moon eye, weepy eye, or any signs of conjunctivitis. And then we're going to check the other eye. And you want to make sure that the judge can see the eye. The judge will be a little bit closer up. He can kind of move around a little bit to see, but you really want to make sure that your hands aren't in the way. If I'm here examining the eye like that, the judge doesn't have the opportunity to see it. So we want to make sure that we make this, whatever part we're examining, visible to the judge. The next thing I'm going to be examining is her nose. We're going to make sure that the judge can see both nostrils, and we're going to be checking for any signs of nasal discharge, and then any signs of snuffles. So that's a sickness that rabbits can get, and it's basically a really stuffy nose. But rabbits can only breathe through their nose, so that's really difficult for them because that turns into an upper respiratory issue. And then we're also going to check the inside of the rabbit's legs, because when rabbits have a runny nose, they're going to wipe it with their legs. So even if their nose is dry, it could be that it's because they just wiped it and the inside of their legs are wet. So we're going to check both of the inside of their legs, and the inside of my rabbit's legs are dry. And then we're going to be, and sometimes they'll turn back over, and that's okay. We can just come back and flip them back over. Next, I'm going to be checking my rabbit's teeth. I'm going to be checking for any buck teeth, wolf teeth, peg teeth, or broken teeth, and any signs of malocclusions. So that's like unaligned teeth, and that creates that they can't eat properly, their teeth will get overgrown, and that can cause them to be quite thin. So now we've checked their teeth, we're going to go ahead and check their belly. We're going to check for any abnormalities, any pigeon breast, mastitis, any abscesses or blemishes. And we're also going to check under the rabbit's jaw. Sometimes female rabbits in a lot of other breeds will get dewlaps, and that's they use that so that when they have babies, when baby bunnies are born without hair, they pull fur from their dewlap to keep their baby bunnies warm. But in Netherland dwarfs, they're actually disqualified if their breed has a dewlap. So that's again why it's really important to know your breed standards. But I'm still going to go ahead and check under the jaw, make sure there's no blemishes, abscesses, or abnormalities. Okay, and then we're going to check our rabbit's front legs and feet. We're going to first check that their legs are straight, and then we're going to start with the front toes. And we're going to make sure that she doesn't have any broken toenails or missing toes, missing toenails, any miscolored toenails. So sometimes they'll have a couple black toenails and a couple white toenails. Depending on the color of your rabbit, they should be either white or black. So all of my rabbit's toenails are black. And then you'll also be checking in the whole leg. You're going to be checking for bone density. You're going to check for the dew claw, which is that fifth toe that they only have on their front feet. And you're also going to be checking the pad of their foot to make sure that it doesn't have any sores from the wire cages. And then again, we're going to check the other leg. Okay, and then we're going to check their back feet. But if you notice, the back feet are way back here, and the judge is going to be sitting in front of us, so that may be a little bit hard for him to see. So we're actually going to turn our rabbits over. We're going to turn them around, and then turn them over this way. So now the judge can easily see their back legs. So we're going to check to make sure that they're straight. We're going to check for any missing or broken toenails, for any mismatched colored toenails, and then for bone density. And then they can get a quite common thing that rabbits can get is sore hocks, especially when they're on wire cages. So we're going to check and make sure that they don't have any sore hocks. Awesome. And then we're going to check the sex of our rabbits. So my rabbit is a doe. My rabbit is a doe, so we're going to be checking for any hutchburn, and so that's where if they're sitting on any wet and unclean surfaces, they can get a dry and almost a chapped vulva, and then we're going to look for any vagina diseases. And if my rabbit was a male, so a buck, I would be looking for any split penis and to make sure that the testicles have descended. And then I'm gonna check my rabbit's tail, and I'm gonna check for any dead tail or bobbed tail. Here we go. And then I'm gonna flip my bunny back over, turn her sideways, and we're gonna check for the fur. We're gonna check for density, any sheen and luster, and different breeds will have different kinds of fur. So my breed is rollback, and so that's where when we go the opposite direction, it takes its time in getting back to lay flat. There's rollback, flyback, wool, Rex, and a bunch of other ones. And so we're gonna check that your breed has the proper hair. We're also gonna check for if they're molting. They'll be losing a bunch of hair, and their fur also won't be it won't be as clean and as shiny as it usually is. And then we're gonna check for what's called the ring. So if we blow on their fur, I don't know if you wanna come in and see this, there's 3 layers to Peach's fur. There's the darker brown, there's a really thin layer of light brown, and then there's white, and then we'll check the skin, and it's pink. And we can also make sure that there's no mites crawling around, and so we're gonna check for the proper colors and everything like that. And now we're gonna do a full examination of our rabbits. So again, having the left side towards the judge, we're gonna pose our rabbits. And this is something that you need to practice a lot at home so that when you get to the fair, they are nice and cooperative. Perfect. So now we're going to do an overall examination. So starting with the head, we're going to use words as fair, excellent, okay, not okay, fair, excellent. I actually have a list over here of the ones that they want you to use. Excellent, good, fair, poor, balanced, conditioned, and finished. They just don't want you to use the word nice. So as we're going through and doing the examination, Peaches has a fairly good head. Her ears should be placed closer together, but they're fairly well placed behind her ear, or behind her eye, so this is called the crown. She has a fairly well set head onto her shoulders. Her shoulders run smoothly into her hind end, and she falls a little bit steep onto the table. She has fairly good width in her body. Her loin is excellent in its width and how it blends into her hips, from the ribs, shoulders, hips, down into the rump. So overall, she is a fairly decent body structure. Hey friends, thanks for coming in and watching me practice my rabbit showmanship today. This is not perfect, but again, if you go onto the ARBA website, American Rabbit Breeders Association, you can purchase the Standard of Perfection as well as print out their score sheet. I hope that you have watched this video and have learned something new today. If you're in 4-H or FFA, we'll have more videos coming out on showmanship for different species, also about the proficiencies. And even if you're not in 4-H, we're gonna have videos on husbandry and how to just care for your animal and how to give them the best life you possibly can. We'll see ya. And last, but definitely not least, we're gonna show you how we practice showing our sheep.
Hi, my name is Kylie, and this is my lamb Yorkie. I will be taking Yorkie to the fair in May. I've had her for about a month, and I'm going to take you guys through the way that I teach my lamb to walk, to set up, and the way that I move around my lamb, depending on where the judge is standing. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to take you through is walking. So first, what I do is I need to gain my lamb's trust. So I will sit in her pen with her for the first probably about a week, and I'll just try to get her to trust me. I'll put her food bucket in my lap or try to feed her out of my hand, and that way she knows I'm not trying to hurt her. And then I'll start trying to catch her, And once she's okay with me catching her, I will practice walking around just in the pen. And that way if she gets away from me, it's okay. There's no problem with that. I'll just re-catch her. And after she starts walking pretty well in her pen, I'll take her out with me around while I do my morning chores. And this really helps you gain your trust because she's walking around in new places with you. You're the only familiar thing that she knows, and she really starts to trust you. After that, I'll start practicing walking her like a show lamb. So that's with my left hand underneath her chin and my right hand behind her head. And I'll push her a little bit with the hand on her back of the head, and I'll just walk with her. And after doing this for a while, you want her to get really, really smooth with this. And so she should trust you and walk real easily, just like that. And then you can practice turning and stopping and just get her used to it and get a lot of practicing. And once she starts really getting good at this, you want to switch sides. So during your show, you're going to be switching side to side on your lamb. And so getting her used to walking on both sides, getting her used to you walking on both sides of her is really good. So now that she's walking pretty well, I'm going to ask my mom to step in, and she will pretend to be my judge, and I'll show you how you should move around your lamb as they're walking. So if she's the judge, you always want to pretend like the arena is like a sandwich. So I'm a piece of bread and she's a piece of bread, and my lamb is the middle of the sandwich. And so every time you walk around, if the judge is there and the judge asks you to turn around, instead of turning around like this, and now you see there's two pieces of bread on the inside and my innards are on the outside, instead you want to turn your lamb towards you and then continue moving. And that will keep you on the other side of your lamb. And so you'll do that both.
So can we practice that again?
So you'll turn around just like that. There we go. And one more time. Turn around like this. Perfect. Okay, and then we'll move on. So the next part that I'm going to take you through is setting up my lamb. So the setting up has two parts to it. We'll first go through putting the feet into placement, and then we'll go into what we call bracing. So first is placing the feet. So what I do is in the first week, I'll touch my lamb all over when I'm getting her used to me, and especially get down at the legs, both the front and the back, and the belly. Those are some sensitive spots that the lambs usually really don't like. But for setting up their feet, you need to be able to touch all of those parts. So to set up your feet, you're going to run your hand down all the way down to the bottom of their foot, and then you'll just lift it up and set it down. And you want to do this a lot so they get used to it. You don't have to even move the feet in the beginning. Just pick it up and set it down so they get used to that. Once they're good at that, you can then start picking it up and moving it to where you need it. So what you want your lamb to look like is you want their feet to be what we call square. So my lamb, I'm going to put this foot kind of in front of that back foot so that it looks like she only has one front leg. And same with the back feet. Now, depending on your lamb's conformation, that will depend on how far apart the front and back legs will be. We can go over that in a later video, or ask your lamb leader if you're in 4-H, and they could probably tell you a bit on that too. So here, I'll just set up her back legs same way. And again, this is where touching him a lot will help. There we go. And so that's kind of what you want their feet to look like. Okay, so the next part of setting up is bracing. So bracing is when you're going to put some pressure on your lamb's chest here, and they should then push into you, and that will pop the muscles in their back, rump, and belly. That'll just show off how much muscle they have to the judge. Now to do that, like I said, you're gonna set their legs up, and then you're going to add some pressure with this front leg into their chest. You can start with a little bit of pressure, and then as you practice more, you can go on to more and more pressure, and they'll push into you better. So here, I'll push into her, and you can kind of see her pushing into me. And if your lamb doesn't do that, I'll show you how to fix that. So if your lamb is having trouble bracing, what you can do is get a wall or a fence. I have a fence here. And what you'll do is you'll back them up really close to the fence. And when you start pushing into them and they start walking backwards, they'll run into the fence and realize, oh wait, I can't go anywhere. So then they'll usually start pushing into you. And that's what you're really looking for. So sometimes they might even jump, and that's totally normal. Just kind of go with it. But you can kind of see her bracing now, especially a lot more. Okay, so the last thing about the bracing is how you're gonna hold your lamb's head. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna make two kind of gun shapes with your fingers, and you're gonna put them right around the ears right here. Now you want to leave your other 3 fingers curled around, because that neck, or the judge really wants to see the neck. So just your 2 pointer fingers should be wrapped around the back of the neck. And with this, you want to be careful with the angle of the nose too. You want to make sure it's level. You don't want to stick your lamb's nose in the air. That'll be uncomfortable for the lamb, and it just doesn't help a whole lot. So make sure to keep that nose level. And then a quick tip: when the judge is coming up to feel your lamb, you can lift the lamb's front feet up off the ground the slightest bit while the judge comes up to feel. And that will be that last little bit of muscle. That will give you the last little bit of extra muscle to show. And that'll really look good to the judge. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna practice is moving around our lambs. So I'm gonna have my mom come up again to pretend being the judge. And so here, this is where you're gonna, standing around your lamb is really important here. So depending on where the judge is standing, so go ahead, my mom's standing right behind me, the judge, and so I'm going to stay right where I am. Now if she moves, if she's on that side, so just like we talked about in the walking, you still want to be making your sandwich. The judge needs to be on the other side of your lamb. So here, she's standing there, so I need to be here on this side of my lamb. I don't want to be here. So here, I'm standing here, and if she moves on this side, I'm going to move to this side. And you want to make it really fluid and soft. You don't want to make it all jerky and mess up your lamb. And then the last place that she might go is in front of me. So when she moves in front of me, this is where you really want to make sure the front legs are set up, and you're going to make those guns shaped with your fingers again, and they'll be right around their ears. And you're going to stand off to the side, and this will show the front end of your lamb. That way that she can see the way that the neck fits into the rest of the body and the feet. And that's really helpful for the judge to see. And so she's on that side. Now as she comes over, I need to go to the other side, but she's still in front of me. So I'm going to keep my lamb facing forward like this. There we go. Okay, and so the way that you know where to move is your lamb is kind of cut up into 4 different parts. So we have a line that comes down through the nose and out the tail. So you can, if you want to draw it, actually.
Draw it.
So just pretend that there's an imaginary line going behind her right there. And then there's also 2 coming off the shoulder here. So there's one there, and there's one on this side too. Now that splits the ground into 4 quarters. So if the judge is standing in this quarter, I need to be in this quarter. If she stands in that quarter, I need to be in this quarter. Now when she comes up, I then move off to the side and I'm almost in this quarter back here. And that will show that she's in the front. And then when she comes to the other side, you move smoothly in front of your lamb and she'll be in that quarter.
There you go.
There we go. And that just helps you know where the judge is and depending on where you move. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe and keep your eye out. We'll have some more fun animal videos coming out. We'll have, for you 4-H'ers, we'll have some more showmanship videos coming out. And for anyone else, we'll have a lot of other educational videos.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching us practice showing all of our animals. We love having the opportunity to show them at the county fairs, and we're so thankful we got to share our experiences with you.
If you enjoyed this video, we'd love to hear from you. Like and subscribe and leave us comments about what you might like to see in future episodes. We'll see ya back on the ranch.